The sun crawled gently across the cracked blinds of a modest apartment on the east side of town. Morning light spilled over a small kitchen table, where Monica carefully poured cereal into a plastic bowl. Across from her sat Ellie, her 7-year-old daughter, legs dangling from the chair, clutching a stuffed rabbit worn at the seams. Monica watched her in silence. Ellie didn't speak, not with words anyway, but her eyes sparkled with stories. She hummed softly, a tune only she understood, while drawing loops and stars on a napkin with a dull crayon. Monica leaned down and tucked a strand of curly hair behind Ellie's ear. "You're my sunshine," she whispered. No response, but Ellie smiled. That was enough. The quiet morning was their ritual, gentle, unspoken, delicate. Monica didn't have much, but what she had, she gave fully. She was a housekeeper at a local inn, sometimes picking up odd cleaning jobs in the evenings. Every dollar was stretched thin, but she never let that show to Ellie. Across the city, in a house where silence was not chosen but imposed, Adam Lawson sat at a breakfast table that could seat 10. He occupied one end, a steaming cup of black coffee untouched before him. His daughter Mia sat at the other, 8 years old, barefoot, hair neatly combed by the housekeeper. She stared out the window. Neither spoke. The absence of sound had become the loudest part of their mornings. "She didn't sleep again," said Greta, the housekeeper, as she set down a glass of orange juice. Adam nodded once. His face was unreadable. His grief had turned to armor long ago. Mia's hand moved slightly, reaching for her glass, then stopped. In two very different corners of the city, two little girls lived in silence, one by choice, one by pain. The knock on the Lawson estate's back door was tentative. Monica shifted her weight from one foot to the other as she waited, Ellie standing beside her, clutching the hem of her mother's coat. Greta opened the door, her warm eyes widening in recognition. "You're early. Come in. It's chilly." Inside, the mansion felt like a museum. Polished floors, high ceilings, and a quiet so heavy it pressed against Monica's chest. "You'll wait here," Greta said gently, ushering them into a sitting room. "Mr. Lawson is on a call." Monica sat carefully on the edge of the couch. Ellie didn't sit. She wandered to a corner where a large bookshelf towered overhead. Her fingers traced the spines of untouched books. Minutes passed. Then the door opened. Adam entered, his presence sharp, controlled. He looked tired. Expensive suit, distracted eyes. "You're Monica?" he asked, barely glancing at her. "Yes, sir." He turned to Ellie. "And this is my daughter, Ellie." He nodded, almost disapprovingly. "This job requires discretion, punctuality, and patience. Mia can be particular." "I understand," Monica said calmly. Just then, footsteps padded softly into the room. Mia stood at the doorway, eyes wide, arms wrapped around a sketch pad. Ellie noticed her first. Their eyes locked. Mia didn't move. Ellie walked forward slowly, rabbit in one hand, and without saying a word, reached into her pocket. She pulled out a small, crumpled drawing and held it out. Mia blinked, then stepped forward. She took the paper. For a moment, the silence in the room changed. It wasn't empty. It was full. Of something invisible, but real. Adam frowned slightly. "Greta mentioned, your daughter doesn't speak either?" Monica hesitated. "She does, just not always with words." He looked at Mia again, still holding Ellie's drawing. "Fine," he said. "We'll try it for a week." The first day passed quietly. Mia didn't resist Monica's presence, nor did she welcome it. She simply observed, eyes like the hush before a storm. Monica noticed the details, the way Mia clutched her sketch pad like a shield, the way she flinched at sudden sounds, the way she never looked people in the eyes, except Ellie. By the second day, Monica stopped asking questions and started offering presents. She sat nearby while Mia drew. She prepared snacks and left them within reach, never pushing. She brought Ellie along in the afternoons, always quiet, always gentle. One rainy afternoon, Monica sat on the floor beside the girls with a pile of blank papers. She drew a smiling sun with long rays and slid it toward Mia. Ellie copied the image, then added a rabbit beside it. Mia watched them both, head tilted. Then, slowly, she drew something too. A girl with long brown hair standing under the sun. A bird flying above her. Monica leaned closer, careful not to intrude. "That's beautiful, Mia." No reply, but Mia slid the drawing closer to Ellie, who grinned and gave a thumbs up. Monica noticed how Mia's eyes softened at that. Later, while Ellie napped, Monica sat beside Mia on the porch and tapped her fingers softly against her own chest. "This means thank you," she said, showing the sign. "Want to try?" Mia watched her, unmoving. Monica smiled, not expecting an answer. "That's okay. Maybe another day." The next morning, when Monica placed a warm cup of cocoa in front of her, Mia looked up briefly and tapped her chest with small, tentative fingers. Monica blinked, then smiled wide. "You're welcome." From the hallway, Adam stood unnoticed, watching. Later that day, he called Greta. "She signed something, didn't she?" "Yes," she replied. "Monica's been teaching her." He didn't comment, just stared out the window. That evening, Mia sat close to Ellie, their shoulders touching. No words were spoken, just crayons moving in tandem, paper rustling, and the sound of quiet healing. And slowly, in between colored lines and shy glances, the first real bond began to form, one not built with words, but with trust. Adam lingered in the hallway more often now, not to supervise, at least not consciously, but because something had shifted. The house felt different, less hollow. He heard laughter once, not loud, but real. It startled him. In the living room, he watched from the doorway as Monica showed Mia and Ellie how to fold paper into little birds. Mia mimicked every fold slowly, glancing occasionally at Monica's hands. Adam stepped in. "I thought she was here to help Mia, not teach arts and crafts," he said flatly. Monica looked up, calm. "This helps more than you think." Adam folded his arms. "I don't pay you to play." "I'm not playing. I'm showing her how to connect." "With paper?" "With patience." He exhaled hard, turning to leave. "She hasn't made a sound in 2 years," he muttered. "Don't give me hope you can fix that." Monica's voice was quiet, but firm. "I'm not here to fix her. She's not broken." Adam froze, back still turned to her. "You don't understand what it's like. I understand silence, and I know what happens when no one listens to it." He didn't reply, just walked out of the room. Mia watched his retreating figure, then looked back at Monica. Without a word, she unfolded her paper bird and handed it to her, like a secret or a peace offering. And Monica smiled, accepting it with both hands, as if it were the most delicate thing in the world. Over the next few days, drawings began to speak louder than words. Mia would wait for Ellie to arrive in the afternoons. She wouldn't say it, but her fingers tapped nervously on the table, and she kept a fresh page in her sketch pad. As soon as Ellie came in, they'd sit together, backs curved like commas, sketching side by side. Their language was simple and strange, symbols, colors, characters that only made sense to them. Ellie would draw a blue heart. Mia would draw a key. Ellie would answer with a door. It became a game, a ritual, a bridge. Monica didn't interrupt. She just watched. One morning, Mia left a folded paper on the kitchen counter before breakfast. Greta opened it and found a drawing of 3 stick figures, one tall, 2 small, holding hands. Underneath, a crooked little sun. Adam found it later. He stared at it for a long time before tucking it into a drawer in his study. That afternoon, Monica tried something new. She sat with Mia and gently signed, "Friend," then pointed to Ellie. Mia hesitated, then mirrored the sign. "Good," Monica said. "Very good." From the doorway, Adam watched again, this time unnoticed. He saw the way his daughter leaned into Monica's voice, her calm, steady rhythm. How Ellie glowed in her presence. How Mia no longer flinched when someone sat close. That evening, Adam found the paper bird Mia had given Monica. It was on the fireplace mantel. He picked it up, turned it over. On one wing, written in a child's shaky hand, was a single word: safe. The rain began to fall just as dusk settled over the mansion. It started slow, then turned into a steady, rhythmic tapping on the windows. Adam sat at his desk, staring at papers he didn't care about. His mind was elsewhere, his heart tangled in a confusion he wasn't ready to face. He heard the soft click of the door opening. Monica stepped in, her wet coat draped over her arm, water droplets dripping onto the hardwood floor. Ellie, asleep in her room, was the only one unaffected by the storm. "I didn't hear you come in," Adam said without looking up. Monica didn't respond at first. She just stood there, looking at him with eyes that held something deeper than sympathy. It was understanding. Pain, even. "You should change," Adam added, his voice still flat, almost robotic. Monica slowly walked to the window. She looked out at the rain, the distance between them now palpable. "I lost my daughter," she said quietly. "My first daughter, Olivia." She took a slow breath, as if gathering pieces of herself. Adam stiffened, still facing his desk. "I'm sorry." Monica's voice cracked. "I don't need your pity, Adam." He turned to her then, surprised by the sharpness in her tone. She had always been kind, calm, reserved, but tonight she was different. A crack had formed in her armor, and the rawness of her grief poured out in the storm. "I lost Olivia in an accident," she continued, her eyes still trained on the rain. "Ellie was only 3. She didn't speak for months after. It was as if she couldn't." Monica swallowed hard, but then she met Mia, and Mia was quiet too. They understood each other in a way no one else could. Adam's eyes softened, his chest tightened. "And that's why you're here, for her." Monica nodded, slowly turning to face him. "I'm not here to fix Mia, or Ellie. I'm just trying to keep them from being as lost as I was." The room fell into silence, save for the sound of the rain. Adam's hand trembled slightly as he reached for his glass of whiskey, but he didn't drink. Instead, he stared at the reflection of his own grief in the glass. His voice was barely a whisper. "I thought I could protect her, but I've been failing her all along." Monica didn't answer. She didn't need to. The quiet between them was heavy with things unsaid, but it was a beginning. For the first time in a long time, Adam felt like he was sharing the weight, even if only a little. The next day, Adam couldn't shake the unease that gnawed at him. The conversation with Monica lingered in his mind, tangled with his own unresolved grief. He had known loss, he had survived it, but something about her presence, about the way Mia and Ellie had grown closer, unsettled him. It felt too fast, too easy. The way Ellie seemed to smile more. The way Mia had started to speak again, even in the smallest, hesitant phrases. It was like a dream, and he was terrified of waking up. The guilt twisted inside him, but so did the fear. He had already lost one daughter. He wouldn't lose another. That evening, as Monica prepared to leave for the night, he stopped her in the hallway. "I need to talk to you," he said, his voice tight. She turned, her face open, waiting. "I've been thinking," Adam continued, his jaw clenched. "You've been here long enough. I don't think this is a good environment for Mia, or for Ellie." Monica blinked, her expression faltering. "What are you saying?" "I'm saying you're too close to them. This bond you're forming with them, it's not healthy. I'm letting it go too far. I'm terminating your employment." Ellie's muffled sob echoed down the hall. Mia, hearing the tension in her father's voice, pressed her face into her knees, her small body trembling. Monica stood still, her heart sinking, but she said nothing. She couldn't find the words. Without a word, she turned and left the house. The echo of the door closing like a final note in a sad, unfinished song. Adam had been pacing the length of the house for what felt like hours. He couldn't focus. His mind kept spiraling back to Monica's departure, to the look in her eyes as she left. He had been so certain that what he was doing was right, that he was protecting his daughter. But now, there was a hollowness in the pit of his stomach that he couldn't ignore. He wandered into the study, his footsteps echoing in the empty halls. The room felt colder than it had before, as if the air itself had been stripped of its warmth. His gaze landed on Mia, who was sitting quietly at the desk, her back to him. She was drawing again. Adam hesitated for a moment, then approached her. He watched in silence as Mia's small hands worked the pencil across the paper, her face intense with concentration. As he leaned over her shoulder, his breath caught in his throat. There on the paper were the outlines of two figures, Monica and Ellie. Their hands were intertwined, Ellie's smile broad and radiant. Monica's was softer, gentle, a scene frozen in time. And there, next to the figures, was Mia, a small child with wide eyes, staring up at them. "Mia," Adam whispered, his voice shaky. "What are you drawing?" Mia paused, her pencil hovering over the paper. She turned her head toward him slowly, her eyes filled with an expression he had never seen before. Something raw, something human. She didn't say anything for a long moment. Then, finally, her lips parted. "Mommy," Mia whispered, her voice soft, almost a tremor. "I want her." Adam's heart stopped. The words hung in the air like a fragile thread, his mind racing to catch up with the sound of her voice. He stared at Mia, unable to move, unable to breathe. And then, like the dam that had held his grief together for years, he crumbled. The tears came, unbidden, uncontrollable, flooding over him as he sank to his knees beside her. The room, the house, the world, it all seemed to shatter around him. His daughter's voice, once lost in the silence, had returned to him. "Mommy," Mia repeated, her eyes searching his face. "I want her." Adam, broken and vulnerable, held his daughter close, the weight of her simple plea pressing down on him like a storm he couldn't outrun. Adam drove through the rain with a sense of urgency, his hands gripping the steering wheel like it was the only thing keeping him grounded. He hadn't planned this, hadn't known what he was going to say. But the guilt, the fear, it was overwhelming. He had to fix it. He had to fix her. When he reached Monica's apartment, the door was slightly ajar. The dim light from the hallway filtered through the cracks, casting long shadows across the floor. He knocked once, then stepped inside without waiting for a reply. Monica was packing boxes, clothes, books, things she had gathered in the brief time she'd worked for him. She looked up, her expression weary but composed. I was just about to leave, she said quietly. Adam swallowed, his heart heavy in his chest. Monica, I was wrong. I didn't understand. I didn't understand your silence. I've been so caught up in my own fear, I never heard what you were trying to tell me. Monica didn't respond immediately. She simply stood there, her eyes flickering between him and the boxes, as if weighing something in the air. Then, from behind her, Ellie stepped forward. She reached out, her small hand touching Monica's arm. Ellie smiled, a quiet, hopeful smile. It was the first real smile Adam had seen in days. Monica hesitated, her lips trembling slightly. She glanced down at Ellie, then back at Adam. I don't want to leave her, Monica said softly, but I need to know if you understand now. Adam nodded, tears welling in his eyes. I do understand. And just like that, Monica's resolve softened. She stepped toward him, and in the silence that followed, Ellie reached up and hugged her leg. I'll come back, Monica said, her voice barely a whisper, but only if you're ready to listen. The rain had stopped, leaving behind a cool breeze that whispered through the trees. The garden, once quiet and untouched, now hummed with life. Mia and Ellie sat on the grass, their hands busy with crayons and paper. They were drawing again, side by side, the world shrinking to the space between them. Adam and Monica watched them from a distance, sitting side by side on the stone bench under the oak tree. The space between them, once full of tension and uncertainty, now felt warm. They didn't speak, but they didn't need to. For the first time, Adam felt the weight of the silence wasn't something to fear. It was something to embrace. He had feared that silence for so long, believing it to be a void. But now, it was the space in which healing could grow. Mia suddenly stood up and ran toward them, her bare feet leaving small prints on the dewy grass. She stopped in front of them, her small hands raised, making a sign, family. Monica blinked, her heart catching in her chest. Adam looked at Mia, then at Monica. The words, unspoken yet understood, echoed in his heart. He reached out and took Monica's hand, his fingers entwining with hers. There was no need for more, no need for explanation. They sat in silence, an understanding deeper than words could convey. Mia smiled softly, running back to Ellie as they continued their drawing. And in that silence, Adam knew. This was just the beginning of their family. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Please leave a comment below and let us know what you thought of the story. Your feedback means a lot.